Welcome to this live session conducted by GIC. My name is Arpana Chaudhry. I'm a migration consultant here, and we would like to welcome to this session Mr. Bengeng Zhang, who's all the way from Australia. He's our migration consultant, and we will be taking a lot of questions. We know you have a lot of questions relating to Australia migration, so mostly we would be focusing on skilled migration, but if you have any other immigration related queries in relation to Australia, please feel free to ask. So Ben, I have asked this before, I'll ask you again. How are you liking Dhaka?
This is my first time here, so I'm really liking Bangladesh in general. The weather is great. The only thing that I'm struggling with a little bit is the food, because I don't handle spices very well.
Right.
Yeah.
So skilled migration, we know that there are different categories like 189, 190, 489. What's the basic difference between these three categories?
Yeah. So I guess the 189, I think that the main difference is that depending on how many points you have, so the skilled migration series is a points tested series. So if you've got 60 points, generally you just go straight for the 189. If you don't have 60 points, then the 190 and the 489 are good ways for the government to sponsor you for that particular occupation and to give you some extra points.
Okay, so that's 190. Where you need the government to sponsor you.
Yeah. And the 489 too.
Right. Who can apply for Australia migration?
Anyone who has graduated from university with at least a bachelor's, and then anyone who has an occupation that is on the skilled occupation list. So you need to go online and look up the skilled occupation list to see if there's anything in there that matches you. And ideally your age would be between anywhere from 18 to about 39, even though you can go all the way up to 50, but then you lose too many points from your age.
Right. You need to have a bachelor's degree, and what's the age barrier again, age limit?
Age limit is 50 maximum.
Right, so you need to complete your studies first before you wish to apply. And what about work experience?
Work experience, it depends on your occupation. So for example, some occupations like Engineers Australia don't really need work experience, but others, like if you were a chef, you would need work experience to apply.
All right, okay. And what about IELTS?
So IELTS is compulsory. You cannot get away from IELTS. The minimum IELTS score you need is 6. But again, because it's a point tested system, you don't get any points for just an IELTS 6. So really you need about a 7 or 8, and that's in each category.
Okay, we are getting questions already. Okay, Nuru Nahar Preeti said hi, hello there. Abdullah Mamoon, you asked a question. Well, we're talking about Australia migration at the moment, but if you're interested for other countries, we would like to invite you to visit our office so we can discuss in details. So Ben is here. We would be talking about Australia migration mainly. So if you have any questions, please do ask about Australia. What kind of applications do you mostly get? I mean, who are the main applicants? Who applies mostly?
A lot of the applicants, because we're based in Australia, a lot of the applicants we get are actually applicants who have just graduated from university and are looking to remain in Australia. Apart from that, generally there are people who have had 3-4 years work experience in their home country, and then they've decided that they want to resettle in Australia.
Right. Okay. Mahbub Didar just asked, must need IELTS. So is IELTS mandatory?
Yes, IELTS is mandatory.
Shujit Borua asked, I have completed HSC. I'm a fashion designer and technician in the garments washing sector. I have 15 years experience in this works. Can I apply?
That would be quite difficult, because as we mentioned before, the minimum you would need is a bachelor's. So if he's only finished his HSC, which I assume is high school, then you wouldn't qualify for it.
Okay. Yes, so I hope that answered your question, and if not, I would like to remind you all again. I hope you know by now from our page that we have a seminar on the 8th, which is on Saturday at Olive Hotel. So well, if you'd like to clear your confusions, please do attend the seminar and do register now. Tanzeen Sultana Islam, right, so she did MS, working for 5 years as a teacher, What are my chances to settle in Australia? Let me know about the cost also.
Yeah.
Right, so we're not going to be discussing costs right now, but about your eligibility. You have 5 years work experience as a teacher, so
what is MS to begin with? I'm not familiar.
Masters, yes.
So
it's a short form.
Oh, right, okay. So in order to qualify as a teacher in Australia, you would need to complete a teaching degree. So in Australia there are some degrees that are very specific to teaching. If you don't have that, then we would invite you to come to the office to see what area you majored in for your masters and your bachelor's. I assume you did a bachelor's before that, and then perhaps there are some other pathways other than the teaching pathway.
Right. Okay, so Rifat Sami, do private university engineering graduate need MSc, which is Masters of Science degree for immigration?
That's
very good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question actually. So it depends on whether your private university is considered a Section 1, 2 or 3. So Section 1 universities are those whose bachelors usually are equivalent to an Australian bachelor's. But for those who are in Section 2, generally you need to study a bachelor's and then a master's, and generally it's a combined 5-year study before it can equate to a bachelor's in Australia.
Right, so in order to be equivalent to an Australian bachelor's degree, you need to have 4 years graduation. If you are from a private university, you need a master's on top of the 4 years graduation. Right, Jannatul Ferdowsi Mukta. I have completed my graduation in architecture in 2010. Now I want to apply for a master's degree with scholarship. What is mandatory for that?
Actually, I mean, that's probably a better question to ask the universities. Because I'm a migration agent, not really an education agent, so they are better equipped to answer what you would need for a scholarship. But on the other hand, if you graduated as an architecture here, depending on the university that you attended, you could qualify for skilled migration already. So once again, please come to the office so that we can do a full assessment.
Yes, we do invite you to our office. So Muhammad Afzal Asif, I graduated with honors in December 2015 and have a working experience of 1 year at Robi. It's a telecom company here, one of the leading telecom company in Bangladesh. I took IELTS recently and have an overall band of 7.5. What are my chances?
I guess the thing that is not clear from there is what occupation they're working as in that telecom company, but if it's anything IT related, then I would say that your chances, you do have a chance of applying. Now, IT is a little bit different. For most other occupations, you need an overall score of 60 for IELTS. I would encourage that you would need a score of 70 at least.
All right. Mishti Nurun Nahar. I am Nurun Nahar Khatun. I have completed Masters and MBA, MS and MBA, both degree, but I have no work experience. How can I apply for migration?
So once again with this one, it really does depend on what your majors were. So if you majored in accounting or finance, perhaps there is a pathway, but really we do need to find out more about your degree and other things such as your age, so that we can see if there's enough points for her to apply.
Right, so it would be very helpful actually if you came and visit our office, so that we could discuss better. Now, Rupon Sharma, can I apply for business visa? What are the requirements?
Right. This is probably one of those that we really do need you to come in the office for a very detailed assessment. But basically, for business visas, the minimum amount that you would need to invest is anywhere from I would say 300,000 all the way up to 1.5 million, and that's in Australian dollars. And generally, you would need to show the Australian government that you have at least I think it's $2.5 million of net assets, which means assets that are free of any debt. So, and there are many more requirements to that. So really, if you have the opportunity, please come to the office whilst I'm here. I'm leaving Dhaka on the 12th of April, so I would love to see you before then.
So we have Tahira Shorkar. I have heard WA gives of 5 points to accountants. What are the chances?
Okay, it's not necessarily that WA gives 5 points to accountants. What that is you're talking about the subclass 190. So pretty much if you were to successfully get state nomination from the government of WA, then they would give you 5 points for that.
We have Shahin Shojib. Hi, hello. Completed MBA on HRM, but I am an animator working since past 6 years still. Don't take IELTS yet, so he hasn't sat for IELTS yet. What are his chances?
Generally in Australia, to be an animator, you have to have done a course in graphic design or something similar, so it has to be IT related. I would say it's a little bit difficult just based on your work experience alone, because your qualifications don't really match the work experience.
Right. Okay. I can see one here. It's Rajan Everlast. I have completed my diploma from Malaysia and currently I'm working at consultancy firm, although I had 5 years of experience, so that I would like to know whether I am eligible for immigration or is there any scope for me?
Okay. I guess firstly I would need to know what your role is in the consultancy firm. It's not immediately clear.
Exactly.
So I guess once again I'll point you back towards coming into our office or contacting one of our consultants who can collect a little more information about your work experience, your role and your studies, so that we can do a proper assessment.
Yes. We have Rafi Ahmed. I have completed BSc in Industrial Engineering from AUST. I have 2 years and 9 months of job experience in production and industrial engineering. Haven't given IELTS yet. What are my chances?
From memory, industrial engineering isn't on the skilled occupation list, but I think it is on the CSOL. So perhaps there is an opportunity for this candidate to be sponsored by a particular state in Australia for skilled migration. So we just need to find out a little bit more about this candidate and do a points test on them, and they could be a good potential pathway for them.
Right. Okay. So Rafi, I hope you've listened to this. You do stand chance. So please do visit our office. We will discuss in details. Dure Ahmed. He's 32 years old, 5 years experience in a bank. He's a graduate from Dhaka University.
Okay.
It's a public university. Is he eligible?
Generally, because I don't know what qualification you graduated with, but if you worked as just a bank teller or someone on the shop floor of the bank, then generally you wouldn't qualify. But if you worked as a finance manager in the bank, then yes, there is a possibility.
So tell us more about the what do you call it? What's the chances of success really for applicants who are from backgrounds which are on the list, the occupations list?
Yeah. So the success I would say is quite high. There are only a few reasons why you would get your visa, I guess, refused, and the two main reasons are, one is health. So Australia is big on I guess screening people for their health, and the second one is if you have a criminal background. So Australia does take criminal history quite seriously.
Okay, right. Okay, so you cannot have criminal records. Right. I can see a question from Tawfiq Noor. He's asking which province Australia at the moment good for immigrants. It means territory, I think. Good for immigrants in management level.
Management level. So I think if you're looking, if your question is asking which states in Australia have more jobs for management, then definitely I would say your bigger cities such as Brisbane, Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney. So those are your three main cities, but really anywhere in Australia does require management roles. Australia is a big services industry, so it just depends. You'd have to go online and look at job sites to see where the jobs are right now.
So plenty of opportunities really. So Robiul Islam, hi, hello. I have completed MBA from one of the renowned universities, working in a renowned private bank for last 2 years, but have no IELTS. Can I apply in Australia? If yes, then which way should I do it?
I think this is very similar to the previous question. So if you're asking questions, if you could tell us what occupation you're in, that would help us a little bit more. So
he's working in a bank.
So for this one, if you are working in a position, such as a bank teller or someone on the floor of a bank office, then you may not qualify. But if you're in a higher executive position or a management position, then there could be a possibility.
So Tahia has asked, my husband works on his own business. I heard we can travel with 1.5 million. Is there any lesser number if we opt out for state?
So yes, that's a very good question. So the 1.5 million is one of the types of investments. So if you were to start your own business or buy a business in Australia, you could spend anywhere from 200,000 all the way up to 1.5 million. So there's definitely some different options. And I guess I said it to a different person before, asked about business investors. I'm here until the 12th of April, so if you have a chance, please come in and see me, because this is best done face-to-face in terms of consultation, and it is a much harder assessment from my point of view compared to the skilled migration, which can be done over the phone sometimes.
Right. I'm having MBA and have been in supply chain. MNC job for 10 plus year, age 35, no IELTS. Can you help me, advise me in detail if I can go to Australia?
And unfortunately, supply chain and logistics has been taken off the skilled occupation list.
So it's no longer on the list?
No, it's no longer on there.
Karthik Roshan. Okay. All right. Hello, Karthik. Yes. So he has a question for you. Are you an immigrant, sir?
Yes, I am an immigrant. So I was born in China. I migrated out of China when I was very young to a very little country in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that no one knows of, and then I eventually migrated to Australia to do high school, and I've been there ever since. So held a student visa, applied for skilled migration on my own, and then eventually got citizenship a few years later.
In Australia. Well, so Cordelia Lilac, how many percent is the chance to get immigration studying in Sydney at this time?
Okay. So I assume Cordelia is asking about how to get a student visa to Australia.
Yes.
I mean, getting a student visa to Australia isn't too hard, providing you can show that you have the finances to support not only your tuition fees but your everyday living expenses. I mean, most universities will accept you, and you also need an IELTS score minimum of 5.5. So just make sure that you satisfy those requirements, and I don't see a problem really.
We have a question from Tabassum Salma. Are you coming to 8th April seminar? Yes, Bin is definitely coming. He is going to be here on the 8th at Olive Hotel. So please do attend.
Yeah, please come and say hi.
Rakib Hassan, Ami Australia, it's in Bangla, but I'm going to translate this for you. Give me a second. So he wants to go to Australia. He's a captain in a ship, and he's been working for a long time. We don't know exactly for how long. Australia, he wants to go to Australia, basically.
It might be a bit hard to go to Australia as a skilled migrant if you don't have the required level of English. But if you were looking just to visit Australia, then a tourist visa is definitely what you could apply for.
Right, so we need to know if you have finished your studies or not, if you have a post-graduation degree or undergrad, what was your subject, and what is it that you actually do, the job description really, the role that you play at work. So yes, please do visit our office. We want to know more about you. Now, Fayaz Ahmed, I have completed my studies from NSU in computer engineering, good subject. Unfortunately, when I did ACS, it was recognized as an associate degree instead of a bachelor's degree. This resulted in a total point reduction of 10.5 from education and 5 from job experience. Can GIC help me in this regard?
Unfortunately, we can't help you in this regard because I think NSU might be considered a Section 2 university.
Private university.
Yeah. So what's happened here is that your bachelor's degree did not equal a bachelor's degree in Australia. So what you would have needed to do is done a master's, and then that 5 years total study would maybe have equaled a bachelor's in Australia, and it would have been recognized as a bachelor's degree, not associate degree. But before you do go and enroll yourself in a master's, please come in and speak to us, so that we can find out a little bit more about the university that you went to and why it was assessed as an associate degree instead of a bachelor's degree.
Right. Muhammad Tariq Rahman. Hi GIC. Hello. I'm doing my MBA, major in tourism and hospitality management. I'm looking forward to completing another master's from a reputed university in tourism. What are your suggestions regarding the issue? Do you suggest me to learn another language? What would be the best country for reading tourism?
In Australia right now, the hospitality industry is really growing quite quickly because of the amount of tourists that are coming. So there are a lot of hospitality-related occupations under the skilled occupation list, and some of them are not on there. They're on a CSOL. So I would say come in and talk to us before you decide to do further study or learn a new language, because often to apply under these hospitality occupations, you need at least 1 year's work experience.
Right.
There
Damanna Rahman. Are you registered? Where are you from? How long will you be here? We want to discuss business migration options. Well, then, are you registered?
I am a registered migration agent, so we are registered with a organization in Australia called MARA, who oversees all registered migration agents. Where are you from? I am from Sydney, Australia. And how long will you be here? So my last day here is on the 12th of April, so please come in before then to see me, and I would love to talk about business migration with you.
We have Fokrul Islam. He has done his bachelor's in law and LLM masters as well from University of London. IELTS score 6 and got Bangladeshi Bar Council enrolled, so he's enrolled at the Bar Council here. Is there any category for me to get immigration visa of Australia?
So I'm assuming that because you studied your law degree in the UK, it's a common law system, which is exactly what Australia has. So applying in Australia should not be too much of an issue, providing that you've done something called your PLT, which I think stands for Practicing Legal Training. Once again, please come to the office, because solicitors and barristers are definitely apply under the skilled occupation list, and you can apply under the subclass 189 visa.
Mohammed Noman Hussain, masters in social welfare, major social work. Majors like he has his undergrad in social work. He has experience more than 10 years out of 8 years in a bank. So as an executive officer, 2 years in NGO as sponsorship officer. He's got 6 in IELTS and is married with a kid. And have any possibility to migration to Australia? Please reply.
So I see a few possibilities in there right away. Firstly, you graduated with a master's in social work, so social worker is on the skilled occupation list, which means you can apply for 189 right away. Now, if your work experience is not related to that, but you have plenty of work experience as an executive, then you could also apply as a general manager or a CEO. So under one of these more senior management roles, there's a possibility.
So Tamanna Rahman again, how much do we need to show for New South Wales business visa?
So in the business visa, there's 2 different types. There's the 188 and the 132. In the 188 alone, there are now 5 different streams. So depending on how much you're willing to invest, the investment could be as little as 200,000. It could be as much as $5 million. So it depends on how much assets you have and how much cash you have to spend.
So yes, for that we do need to sit face to face. So please do visit our office while Ben is still here. She's also asked, can we show assets as opposed to cash?
Yes, you can, as long as those assets can be liquidated quite readily.
Right. Boktiar, hi, hello. I'm studying in China. My major is automation engineering, bachelor's in automation engineering. Can I immigrate to Australia?
There is something on the skilled occupation list called, I think, electrical and mechatronic engineering. So if that is the equivalent of automation engineering, then yes. But again, it's something that we would need to do a full assessment on to understand how closely related the two are.
Right, so I hope that has answered your queries. Well, thank you everyone for watching us, and we do hope to see you on the 8th seminar at the Olives. Bin will be there. So thank you so much.